May is a very busy month for us gardeners, and today I'm going to show you some of the things that you can do. So you might have guessed that the first thing that you can do in May, which is something that you can do most of the year really, is just to keep weeding. And there's a video that's going to be up here, which is me showing you some of my top tips for you weeding. But I think weeding is a big one at the moment, because you're planting out all of your small seedlings and you don't want them to be overwhelmed by other plants taking over. So that's why weeding is really good to do at this time of year. Another thing you can do at this time of year in May is between plantings and when you're taking the old stuff out and putting the new fresh stuff in, between doing that you should be mulching with compost to try and re-energise your soils with more nutrients and vitamins, and also to try and keep some of that water in that's really valuable after this time of year. Another one is to take note, which means when you're sitting in the garden and you should see something that you might need to do in your garden at another time or currently, to stop you getting overwhelmed in this really busy month, you should sit down and you should just take notes in your notepad. You should make a little to-do list, and then what you can do then is you can tick one off at a time, and this really gets you motivated then, because when you tick one off at a time, and even put the small things on this list, because when you tick one thing off it just eggs you on to do more and more and more, and then you get the whole list of jobs for your garden done and you won't even realise. One of the jobs that you can do this month, or some of the things that you can sow this month I should say, are the late winter veg and brassicas. So you can plant things like, it's starting to get a bit late for parsnips. You can still do it, but they prefer to have a bit earlier normally because they take so long to germinate. But you can sow some other things like the brassicas, the swedes, and anything that you want to go into winter, cabbage as well. You can sow now and it'll completely crop into your winter, and it'll try and lessen that hungry gap, which we're coming to the end of now. I've got all of my brassicas and winter veg sown at the moment, so I've got my kale, my sprouts and my kohlrabi all planted at the moment, ready for Christmas time and in the autumn, which sprouts fresh from the garden on Christmas Eve are a lovely addition to a Christmas dinner. Another thing that you can sow this month are your runner beans and your growing beans and things like that you're going to be harvesting in the late summer towards August and September. And I've already sown my runner beans, and some of them are already grown quite well. They're about this size, as you'll see in the B-roll clips. But now if you want them to germinate straight away and not be cut back or not have to worry about frost, now's the time to plant them, as long as your last frost's sort of behind you now and you're just going to get a few cold nights and it should be fine. So the beans that I've got, I put a big cloche over them, as you can see here, and it looks a bit like a ghost, which could be scary if you're doing slug patrols, but mine have been fine and they've not been burnt by the frost at all. So now is a perfect time so you won't get them burnt by frost, because most of the chance of frost is gone now. But if you have planted them earlier, just make sure if there is a chance of frost where you're living, make sure that you do put some mesh over them or fleece or whatever you use to protect your plants. And as if all the sowing, weeding and mulching with compost isn't already keeping you busy enough, what you can also do is you can pot on things like peppers, tomatoes, aubergines. You can put them into bigger pots or bigger grow bags, or even into the ground if your chance of frost is completely gone. And if you plant them out now, they'll start growing earlier and you'll get an earlier and more prolonged harvest. So once you're completely free of frost in your area, you can plant out into the ground things like cucumbers, squashes and courgettes, because these will start loving the warm weather. But don't risk planting them out at all until the risk of frost is completely gone, and they'll thank you later with bigger harvests. And finally for today, I'm going to tell you that you can stake up your plants in windy areas, which in my garden is everywhere, but in your garden it might only be some parts. But you need to start staking things up. This is perennial kale, it's being blown around quite a bit, so I'm going to put this cane in and then I'll tie it up. So that's all I've got for you today, so I hope that all that keeps you busy through the month of May. Thank you for watching this video. Please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon, as well as liking this video. And if you would like to, please comment down below and tell me what you're up to at the moment in your garden. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.